Well, hopefully I got myself in focus. Today I plan on changing the plugs in my 2013 F150. I'll take you through that. I think it's a pretty easy deal, but we'll see. Thanks. Alrighty, the spark plugs I intend to use today are Motorcraft SB 519s, and the manual says to gap them from 49 to 53 thousandths. I'm going to probably do 45. I've read a little bit online that they run decently at that gap. So here we go. I'm gonna show you how to gap them, and then I'll probably tape it, but I'll probably fast forward through it on the actual work, and I'll tell you what size wrench you need for the little nut that holds the coil on plug in, and then the size of the socket you're gonna need for your spark plug. Alright, I got my stuff put together for what I need to do the job. I have an 8mm socket for the screws that hold the coil on plug. And I have a magnetic 5/8 for the actual spark plug. And I have it magnetic so that when I put it down into the well there, it doesn't drop out, and I have better control over it. And then I have multiple ways to set the gap. Got the old school feeler gauges, which one is 20 and the other is 25 thousandths, so put it together it's 45 thousandths. You have I don't even know what the proper terminology for this one is, but you can slide it along there. Then you have the old gapper that I think used to come in a Craftsman set, but I think I don't know where I got this one over time. And then final, and the one I like to use typically, is a wire gapper. I'm setting it to 45 thousandths, and I don't know if you can see it, but that one right there is 45 thousandths. So what I'll do before I even start is I'm going to go through and gap all of the new plugs, and that's what I'm going to do right now. Alright, so I'm going to gap them, and I took one out of the box and used the 45, and it is extremely loose for that. So what you do is you use this piece on the electrode to bend it back to close the gap. Then you put the piece in and it's still loose, so and again, I don't know, you put it here and then you bend the electrode towards the other electrode, I guess. I don't know the proper terminology for both those. And then you see if it's tightening up, but see here, and it doesn't help that I don't have my glasses on. So, and then you can do it like this, and this is saying that we're right at 45 right now on this one with this gapper. And if I go to this one, we'll see 45 thousandths, and it's tight. So there we go, that one's set. Checked it with the filler gauge after I ballparked it with the other one. So I'll go through and do all these to 45. Ooh, that one's got a pretty thing on it. 45. That one's a little loose. Let's do 45. It's loose, but not too bad. Close it up a little. Maybe I went too far. Open it just a hair. There we go. Gaposaurus. one's a little loose. These must have come as 50 thousandths or something. Still a little loose. Doesn't take much to bend them, and you don't want to overdo it. There we go. That one's good. Ooh, that one's tight at 45. I think we got it right there, out of the box. Maybe just a hair tighter. I think that might have been 2 hairs, but we'll see. No. Well, yep, too tight. I only need 1 hair. Right. Pure excitement, but it's got to be done. Just a little bit loose. Oh, and I'd like to shout out to my dad, who taught me how to do this about 1 billion years ago. Thanks, Dad. Can't imagine what the dealership wants to do this, even though it's relatively simple. That one's way off. Oh, a little bit too far that time. It's easy to do. There we go. Yep. 6 down, 2 to go. When I put these back in, I typically put them in, take 1 coil off, put the plug in, put the coil back on. That way I'm not mixing, and I don't know if it actually means anything or does anything, but I don't like mixing the coils up. They worked when they came off, so I imagine they'll work when I put them back on. There we go. There we go. The last one. It's loose. All right. Hopefully I haven't messed anything up. Got them gapped. And now there's a couple other things here. I have some anti-seize that I put on a thread since it's steel going into an aluminum head. And then dielectric grease for the connector, just to make sure that it doesn't spark across, and it makes it a lot easier to put the coil-on plugs back on. So there you have it. Now the fun part. Well, the next item is going to be taking the bolt out. Well, first you do you disconnect the connector. It's got this red piece here that when you go to put it back, you slide that in and it locks the plug in place. I don't know if you saw that, but I'll do it again. So you have a red pin there, you pull that up, and I just hopefully didn't break it. You pull that up and then you push down and you pry up to get the connector off. And these have been on for a while, so I'm probably gonna have to persuade it some. Typically I like using a large screwdriver, and this is harder than I thought, and I got to push down, so I'm gonna have to set up the camera so that you can see it, what I'm gonna do to get the red plug off. Oh. Okay, hopefully you can see it from there. If not, I'll probably be shooting this again. But so you push in on the black part, and I use a screwdriver at the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. And then you just, once you got that pressed down, you can pry it up and it comes off. So hopefully that showed up well on the video. So then you can pull it the rest of the way off. And I guess you could take them all off and then do them all at the same time, but since the wiring loom is tight, it's not like you're going to mix them up. But you know, I prefer one at a time myself. Alright, so we got the connector off. The next step is to loosen the nut holding the coil down. And as you can see, it's pretty not too bad. Just loosen that up. Doop-a-doop-doo. And once you got it loose, just wiggle it back and forth to get it to come out. Make sure you got it all the way undone. There's the bolt. And there you go. And there is your plug-on coil. Look at how nice and clean it is on the inside. Ooh, doggy. So, next step is to pull the current plug out of the motor. And if you watch this, you'll see how deep the hole is with this extension. So you can see that they're down there, which is why I like using a magnetic socket to make sure it comes out of there instead of me trying to fish it out of there. Well, this is no fun trying to do this on a stool with no leverage. So probably gonna have to take this out of the video. I'm gonna get a longer extension. I don't know what they torqued it to at the factory, but this is insane. Then I'm trying to do it around the camera. You dirty. God damn. Yeah, I looked this up and it's supposed to be 11 or 12 foot-pounds. I don't know what the heck. And there went the camera. But I think I busted it loose. Hope they're not all that hard. Well, now that I got it loose, I can just take my makeshift breaker bar off and get it out of there. Jesus. How They didn't cross-thread that son of a bitch. It was tight. Maybe they didn't use any anti-seize. Hopefully the rest of them aren't that hard. And there we go, the old plug. So I got the old plug out, and just for shits and giggles, I want to see how wide the gap is. Yep, these are exact, the plugs I got are the exact replacement, so I guess I got the right ones. So here's 45, which it just goes through. Here's 50, no problem. And here's 60 thousandths, which it gets through. So, whatever happened, you know, I decided to change these, one, because I have 90,000 miles, but also because I had a little miss. So this is showing right at, I want to say 58 thousandths. So it should be right there, and it's way over here. So anyways, there you have it. And I can't read spark plugs. I don't know if that's lean or not lean or whatever, but there you go. So the next trick, since I've gapped them already, they're all ready to go, I have to put a little dielectric grease in the old coil on plug, just a little bit. Hopefully I'll get some out of there. There we go. Put some in, so there, that's ready to go. And then just a smidge of anti-seize, because that's probably part of the reason it was such a bear to get off. But luckily it wasn't too bad. So I just put a little bit in, try to keep it away from the electrode as much as possible. And there you go. Now I go reinstall. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a better view of where the plug goes, way down in there. So I got my socket with my spark plug, and we feed it down there. And I started by hand just to make sure that I don't cross thread it or anything like that, because it's soft aluminum, so you want to be careful on putting it back in. Then I try and turn it after it's tight about a quarter to an eighth. You know, I'm not going to crank on that son of a bitch. So there you have it. That's how you change the plug. Now I'll put the coil on, plug back in, and then I'll do this another 7 times. And I don't think you need to watch me do it 7 times. But just make sure you get the plug in the coil before you tighten it back down, which I think I have. And then again, I just like to hand start everything just to make sure I'm not brute force threading, cross threading, any of that good stuff. And there you have it. Well, almost. You tighten this up, put the wire back on, then that's 100% of the procedure. Fire truck. It's not coming here. I haven't caught anything on fire. And as you can tell from the appearance of my motor, this is a daily driver. Goes on construction sites and what have you. So it is what it is. Plug back on, and then the red's back down. And there you have it. I'm sure I'm sweating a lot because it's South Louisiana, but that's how you do it. And once I get done, I'll film a closing. Thank you, and if you enjoyed it, even if you didn't enjoy it, please subscribe and look at my other videos. Thank you. There's the spark plugs I took out. They all look pretty much the same except for the farthest back on the driver's side, which is this one right here. It looks very oily. I don't know exactly what that means since I'm not a spark plug reading expert, but if somebody could comment below and tell me what that means, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Well, I got the spark plugs changed. Learned a little bit since it's been never that I've done this truck before. The driver's side's a little bit difficult. Not too difficult, but a little bit more difficult because you gotta reach over fuse box and air box and brakes and all that good stuff to get to the back. And I didn't have a big enough ladder, so I think one of my next purchases is going to be a step ladder, a smaller one, so I can get up over the fender. The passenger side wasn't too difficult until I got to the very back one, which is to be expected. You know, there just isn't as much working room, but it's a lot better than a lot of cars I've done before. So probably be better off if it wasn't 95 degrees out, but you know, it is what it is. So I hope you find this video useful. I only showed you the one, but it's pretty much the same over and over and over and over again. So if you have any questions, put them in the link below. Please comment, please tell me what you think. I'm hopefully going to be doing a lot of these, so you know, please subscribe, and thank you very much.